Hey guys, I want to show you what's going on. I got everything all pretty much buttoned up. I'm hooking up the wiring harness back. I'm putting the valve covers on. The driver's side went pretty easy, the valve cover. But as usual, there's always got to be one stick in the mud. So I got all the bolts on the passenger side, but the one bolt in the back, I keep dropping it. I had to wedge these, and I'm kind of a little frustrated with it right now. I'm going to have to take these bolts, back them all out a little bit, um, so I can maneuver the valve cover to get that last one in and get it kind of threaded up. I don't want to strip any of these valve cover bolts, so that's the last, pretty much most difficult thing. I've got all the coolant stuff hooked up. I got a few more vacuum things to run, a couple more connections to make. I got to bolt in the throttle bracket. I made a special plate thing here to make it work. Also, I had a problem with the alternator going on and the belt routing. Like I say, I gotta still clean this up, but I had to clearance. You might not be able to see this, but I used a grinder and I clearanced the back of the alternator. This is a PA 200 amp. Now, besides clearance the back of the alternator, I had to ding back here. You can't see it visually because it's behind this, but I had to ding that to make it work. Now, if I don't have the right spacing here between the alternator and the bracket, the bolt holes for the valve covers don't line up. So I forgot one of these washers, and I had it back together, and I put the washer back in, and it brought it out a little bit more, so I could get the valve cover from hitting the back of the alternator, if that makes good sense. Um, so a lot of this stuff's been modified. See, for the 200 amp alternator, I had to run the bigger wiring up to the front. I upgraded to 4 gauge. So it's not like a normal Mustang. It's got a lot of different parts on it that are Fox body. 94, 95. We got 98 to 04 mass airflow. It's just a lot of different things here, variables that aren't just normal things. This has been like pieced together, and I'm trying to build off a tune, and it sometimes gets rather difficult because you can't just adjust. You have to rely on the tune. So you can get it as close as you can get, but after that, you can't do any more. I use Teflon. Down there, it was gobbed up with silicone. I wanted to use the polished valve covers, but I just didn't want to go through grind, and I didn't want to go through beat, and I didn't want to go through a pain in the butt. And these are their setup, so it's not really what I wanted, but it's gonna have to go. You know, the last time I was driving the car, it sounded loud. I noticed this blew off. I have an A on an L fitting, and it's got a top and a bottom. I'm gonna have to put silicone in that or something and get that really tight so it seals up, because if not, the top makes this tapping noise, and it could sound like transmission or flywheel noise, and that could have been my issue. And I believe the transmission's installed good, and there's no issue with that. So things can be deceiving, noises you can't really hear and tell until you start taking stuff apart and inspecting. So I'm buttoning this up, and this is my last video for this year, and I figured I'd show you the progression of it. I polished it up, I fixed the injector bung leak, and now I'm pretty much buttoning it up. Like, subscribe, and share, and as always, keep on dreaming.